Hi, there is a Frankenstein. Hope everyone is doing okay. From today onwards, I intend to start a new video series called The Prototype. In this specific video series, I intend to cover any fun topic that I may come up with in the near future, and also fragrance discussions. But primarily or predominantly, the main focus of this series will be first impressions. So this series will feature my unhinged and unfiltered opinion and first impression on fragrances that I'll be purchasing in the future. I may very well have some fragrances, so there'll be some content on this specific video series in the near future. But for today's edition, this has actually been requested by one of my secret subscriber. I'll be covering the basic terminologies and the unheard or not talked about etiquettes of the fragrance game. So these are terminologies or rules that I myself found a little daunting and challenging when I started my own fragrance game. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, before I begin this topic, a little disclaimer. I am not a perfume expert or a perfume for that matter, so any advices that I'm gonna give you in this specific video is based on my personal experience and as a reviewer to my viewers. It's just kind of the things that I wished I knew before I went into this game. Now that that's out of the way, let's start with the most common terminology that you will be coming across as a new fraghead. Now, what is a fraghead? A fraghead is a person who's obsessed with fragrances, aka a fragrance aficionado, a fragrance enthusiast, and whatever superlative you can find to relate to an individual with fragrances, you can stick it up and it becomes a fraghead. And very soon this very terminology will get up on Oxford Dictionary, I'm sure of it, and if not, let's just revolt for it, eh? Okay, so a fraghead may shamelessly apply colognes 2 to 3 times on an average a day. So if there's a normal person who is not a fraghead, let's say a non-fraghead, or shall I say a fruggle, so a muggle, a person who's not into fragrances, I'm calling him a fruggle, okay? So a fruggle may find you weird if you're applying colognes 2 to 3 times a day, but let's just face it, we fragheads have a huge collection, and in our lifetime we're not getting through that entire collection. So we just want to use the most we can in a single day. Me personally, I apply colognes 3 times a day, and I'm proud of it. I want the best of every fragrances in my collection, and that's the way you can make it happen. On to the next topic, that is basic terminologies. Like when you join fragrance groups, you will come across terms like SOTD, FOTD, SOTG, SOH, SOC. What does those mean? Well, it's actually quite basic. SOTD effectively means scent of the day, and FOTD means fragrance of the day, and you can go creative with what you add at the later. Let's say SOG or SOTG can mean scent of the gym, SOS can mean scent of sleep. Well, you can go bonkers with those terminologies, but that is effectively what these little tiny abbreviations allude to. And this brings me to the next topic, which is concentration. Now, there are 5 major types of concentration that are used in mainstream perfumery. And these are eau de fraîche, eau de cologne, eau de toilette, eau de parfum, and then you have the purest form of perfume oil. Now, what do I mean by concentration? A good description of what concentration are, you shall get a good taste of it because a diagram should be popping up by now. Now I'll start with the lowest concentration, which is of fresh, which lasts around 1 to 2 hours and has the most less concentration of perfume oil, 1 to 3%. So that's why the perfume really dissipates really fast. The timelines that you see below the bottles are bare estimates, so don't just take these don't take these duration as constants because they may vary from perfume to perfume. And eau de cologne is a lighter version of eau de toilette, often referred to just as cologne, and has the greatest dilution of fragrances with a 3 to 5% concentration of perfume essence. It usually lasts for 2 hours. Then you've got eau de toilette, which is actually the major concentration that you will find in most of the perfume, men's perfume or women's perfume regardless. It is lighter than eau de parfum with a 4 to 8% concentration of the oil essence. It usually lasts for 2 to 4 hours. Then we've got eau de parfum, which is lighter than the perfume version with an 8 to 5% concentration, but still has long-lasting characteristics from 4 to 5 hours. It is less expensive than the pure perfume. Then you've got the strongest concentration of perfume, which is the perfume version. It is the strongest fragrance available, consists of around 15 to 30% concentration of the perfume essence oil. This means that not only do you need to use it less, but also that the fragrance lasts longer, typically for up to 6 to 8 hours, depending on your skin type. Now, some things that I want to expand on based on those concentration is the fact that you have Sauvage Eau de Parfum and Sauvage Eau de Toilette. You may think the Eau de Parfum is going to last longer, and you're technically correct, but this is the one that performs better. So if you're actually thinking like say, I'm going to use Eau de Parfum and it's going to last longer on me, you may be wrong on some perfumes like these, because Eau de Toilette clearly is the superior performer. And this is true for actually Bleu de Chanel's Eau de Toilette as well. That is the bigger performer than the perfume and the Eau de Parfum version. However, the Eau de Parfum has a greater longevity. Now this swiftly brings myself onto the next topic, which is performance. Under the umbrella of performance, you have two topics: longevity and projection. Now, to an average Joe, when he or she talks about performance, he's actually referring to the projection, not the longevity. Now, there's three types that fall under the category of performance. First, let's tackle longevity. Now, longevity is the amount of time a fragrance residue or a fragrance rests on your skin. So when you take your nose to your skin and you can still detect a fragrance throughout the duration that you can detect it, when you put your nose near your skin, is the longevity. And projection is when the fragrance pushes out from your skin without much effort. You can smell the fragrance from your skin or your clothes for that matter. That is projection. And as for sillage, now sillage is a bit of a hybrid of performance. Sillage is more like the trail that you leave behind when you use a fragrance. Some fragrances are so strong that when you wear it and when you walk, let's say, through a hallway, you leave a trail, a nice trail of the fragrance. The fragrance molecules are gonna be in the air for some time, and that trail is effectively what sillage is referred to as. Now those are what let's say performance. Now let's go on to the next topic of application. Now when people apply fragrances, some of you may think that fragrances are a substitute of this, a body spray, or let's say a deodorant, which is not true. A deodorant is something you need to apply every day regardless of you applying cologne. A cologne is supposed to enhance your smell. It's more like a beauty product. But this is a basic product for men and women. Now people think that this and this are the same, but they're not. This is an essential, and this is a luxury. Okay? So if you want to carry on with your fragrance game, always apply deodorant, and before that please take shower. Don't use perfume to hide your bad smell or bad breath. Hygiene is the basic foundation of smelling good. Okay? So this effectively, what this does is it blocks your body odor, or some may refer to as BO. This needs to be the basic framework in your body, and after that you apply a moisturizer and then apply the fragrances on your skin and your clothes or your hair even, because people may think that fragrances may last better on your skin, but that's a wrong concept. Fragrances actually last more on clothes. But the difference between clothes and skin is your skin projects more, but your clothes project less. But your clothes have a better longevity, while your skin has a better projection. But to get the best out of that projection, you need to hit your pulse points. Now, a diagram should appear right about now, which shows the pulse point in the human body. Now, why is a pulse point an effective position for applying colognes? Well, that's the point where you have the strongest circulation of blood, and when the blood flow is intense on specific parts of your body, the temperature in that specific part grows, which in turn pushes the fragrance, and so you have a nice projection. I think I've covered all the basic terminologies today in this session. Hope you have found this nice mini discussion useful, and as always, the Frankenstein has spoken.